Congrats, Chloe.
Thanks. What's this for?
It's championship season at SC, baby.
Sports Scene starts now.
Happy Wednesday and welcome to the season finale of Sports Scene. I'm Julia Adams.
And I'm Chloe Chryssikopoulos.
The NFL draft begins tomorrow night in Arlington, Texas, and former Trojans are hoping to hear their name called on the big stage. Chloe, are you ready to discuss some NFL draft predictions?
Let's do it.
So there's 6 former Trojans that were invited to the NFL Combine that will hopefully hear their name called tomorrow. So let's start with day 1, round 1. Who's your pick?
All right. I think that we only have one draft pick going day 1, round 1, and that would be Sam Darnold. Both the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick, the Cleveland Browns and the New York Giants need a quarterback. And Darnold had a great showing on Pro Day. Despite the rain, he showed up. He had great touch, great accuracy. Any drops were on the receivers. And so I honestly think that he'll be either number 1 or number 2, and if not, for sure gone by day 1.
Yeah, I definitely think Sam showed off his talent to potential draft prospects, and I really think that he will also be a first-round pick. But now moving into round 2, day 2, I think Ronald Jones will be picked in the second round. He was a highly touted player in USC's 2015 recruiting class, and he's really lived up to the hype. I think his stock has been considered as if he would be considered in the first round if he can move himself up, but also I think he's still going to be a second-round player draftee, just because there's a lot of good competition, especially with Saquon Barkley, another running back from Penn State. So I think it'll be pretty tough for him to go really up there. So also going on day 2, I could see both Uchenna Nwosu and Rasheem Green. I think these guys are both excellent players and really had a great career at USC. And on top of that, they both really showed their stuff during Pro Day. They showed how agile they were. They really had pulled great numbers at both Pro Day and in the Combine. So I think they'll be versatile players for whoever picks them up.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Let's just move our boy Darnold right over.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have you handle that.
I got it.
All right. So Deontay Burnett and Steven Mitchell, I think, are going to go round 4 through 7. They both are wide receivers that are pretty small in size, but they have great speed. They have really good route running. I think they have the ability to separate. But the problem is that Deontay is pretty young. He had a great showing at the Cotton Bowl, but his youth is going to be an issue for some teams. And also Steven Mitchell, he had some injuries this past year, so there's not a whole lot of tape on him, so teams might be a little reticent to pick him.
Yeah, all right. Thanks, Chloe. Well, we'll see how it turns out tomorrow. But now let's toss it to Sarah, who's joined by a former Trojan who had his own experience with the draft.
Thanks, Chloe and Julia. I'm now joined by former USC and NFL linebacker and current author and motivational speaker, Thomas Williams. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So the draft's coming up.
I know.
It's an exciting time.
I know
it's a big time.
Yeah.
But you're very familiar with that yourself.
I know. 10 years ago to the day, I got drafted 155th overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Super exciting moment. I had my family there. I could only imagine what the guys are experiencing this weekend.
What's something that you remember the most from that weekend?
Just being able to say I did it. Just being able to say I did it. As soon as the phone rang, being able to say I did it, look my mom in her eyes and go, we made it.
Awesome. And so because there's so many Trojans that are entering the draft this year, what advice would you give to them about this process? Man,
just enjoy the ride and make sure that you become an asset to the team and not just worried about yourself. So focus on the team goals during your first contract, and then that will lead to an extension and hopefully big time money come your second contract.
And I know there's always a lot of rumors and speculation. People always want to talk about who's going to be number 1,
right?
Where someone's going to go.
Yeah.
For you, who's your number 1 pick in this draft?
100% Sam Darnold. If you want to win, you have to draft Sam Darnold. Number 1 overall. I think he's just got a tremendous upside. So it'll be really, really exciting to see what he does with his football career.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it and all you have to say. Now we're going to toss it back to Julia for an update on tennis.
Thanks, Sarah. Men's tennis has secured the number 3 seed in the Pac-12 Championship tournament this weekend. I'm joined by Nick Kaufmann with an update on the Trojan team. So Nick, what do you think the Trojans need to do to secure another Pac-12 championship title?
Well, Julia, the Trojans need to use their experience from last year when they won the Pac-12 tournament in order to win again this year. Most of the current players were actually on last year's championship team, and they are all very capable of winning. They also are on a 3-match win streak and need to build off of this momentum to put them in a position to win the tournament.
Well, we're kind of just going back to our usual sort of practice routines, trying to, keep everything the same, go to what works and stuff, and also just a little bit of mental preparation too.
I also had the chance to sit down with Riley and Tanner Smith, two brothers on the USC men's tennis team, to talk about what it's like being a Trojan family within the Trojan family.
You're both SoCal boys, and you're both at SC now. Your dad's the coach. It's almost like a family tradition now at USC for tennis. What's that like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, growing up, all we looked at was USC, and I maybe talked to schools for a week, and then I was like, what am I doing? But yeah, I mean, it's a dream to play and represent the school and the history of this program, and yeah, it's been awesome being a part of something like this.
Yeah, it's a total family affair. We have a younger brother who'll be here in 2 years, and I mean, it's pretty cool when you get to go to school or work or whatever you want to call it with your family every day.
So there's no sibling rivalry between you two, no fighting. You guys get along perfectly.
Yeah, I'd say it actually died down since Riley got to school. We've had our fights for sure.
We butt heads a couple times, but when we got to school, we've become a lot closer, and it's been really good. Yeah.
So just being on the team's helped bring you two.
Yeah.
Yeah, being a part of something bigger than yourself brings you together.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, have you guys ever played doubles together in a match, or?
Yeah, we've played a couple times. Never in college yet, but we better down the road.
Yeah. If the right injury happens or something, maybe, just maybe.
No, I think it'd be a pretty good team.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Twin Towers.
It'd be all right, yeah.
Now, obviously, USC has a ton of past champions. Steve Johnson comes to mind, Robert Farah, both accomplished professional tennis players. Now, Stanford has the Bryan brothers, who are coming towards the end of their career. Do you think you two will replace
Smith
the Bryan
brothers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Bryan brothers are replaceable, but yeah, I mean, I'd love. I think me and Tanner will play together this summer a little bit, and yeah, who knows?
Yeah, it's definitely every guy on the team or every guy that plays tennis's dream. So why not?
Yeah.
So we're going to see you guys at the Open this year?
This year, maybe not this year, but
Give us a couple.
Yeah, give us a couple of years, hopefully. Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. Now splashing into the pool, Mary Paige Nesvetter has an update on #1 ranked women's water polo.
Thanks, Julia. And if you feel like you've been hearing a lot about women's water polo, it's because you have. And it's because they're really freaking good. And to show you just how good, we found the numbers to prove it. 21-1. That's the team's record for the regular season, remaining undefeated in MPSF play. Their only loss came from Stanford in February, but don't worry, they came back to beat them 8-5 last week to claim that #1 spot. 5. As in the number of players who have scored MPSF award recognition this season. Freshman phenom Paige Hochschild has been named Newcomer of the Week a record of 7 times. Junior Amanda Longan is behind her with 2 wins, and Denise Mamalito, Maud Meggins, and Haley McKelvey have each won once. 11. The women of Troy are on an 11-game winning streak and haven't lost since February. In that stretch, they've been beating teams by an average of nearly 8 points, with their biggest victory being a 19-3 win over Pacific. 122. That's the number of career goals that senior Brianna DeBow has gathered so far. She's etched her name as number 19 for all-time scoring leaders at USC. Senior Haley McKelvey's all-star performance last Saturday brought her goal number up to 106, good enough for number 26. I caught up with her after the game on how she's been able to keep climbing so late in the season.
Just really focusing on our strengths, weaknesses on both our own team and other teams, and really preparing for what other teams are going to do.
529. No, that's not an area code. That's the number of saves junior Amanda Longan has racked up. She's currently number 4 for career saves at USC and second in single game saves with a whopping 18. Senior Victoria Chamorro is right behind her in career saves with 450 and ranks 7th in single game saves with 13. Ain't nothing getting past these ladies. 14. The number of national championships legendary head coach Jovan Vavic has won since he joined the Trojan family in 1995. 5 of those 14 titles were won by women, including the 2004 women's team becoming the first team in NCAA history to go undefeated during the regular season. They did that again in 2016. Now, he is a 13-time National Coach of the Year, and Vavic's career record stands at an astonishing 545 wins to 146 losses. Pretty good odds there. Now, the women of Troy head into the MPSF tournament this weekend with a first-round bye. They will play in the semifinal round starting at 12:45 this Saturday in Berkeley, hoping to make it to the final round on Sunday. USC will host the NCAA tournament starting May 11th. And Chloe, back to you.
Thanks, Mary Page. Now I'm joined by Michael Norman, a sophomore sprinter, and TT Terry, a freshman sprinter on the track and field team, and they both just picked up some Pac-12 Honors of the Week. Thanks so much for being in studio with me.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you're a freshman and you're a sophomore. You guys are pretty young, and you've gotten some PRs, some records. What do you think the future has in store for you?
I would say being a freshman in the future have a lot more in store for me. I'm going to have to continue working on what I'm working on and doing what I'm doing and seeing improvements over time.
She's being a little modest. I think her future is really bright. You know, coming off of such an amazing time running 10:99 as, you know, an under 20-year-old, that's really great accomplishment. You know, that motivated me to continue working hard. But in terms of my future, you know, just being young, I think it shows a lot. I think it reflects a lot of the hard work we've done and worked throughout the fall semester. So I think the future is looking real bright, and I'm looking forward to see what the future has in store.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be? And you're not allowed to say super speed because you both already have that.
That's teleportation, because I'm lazy, and you know, I'd rather just be there like this than have to wait or process. And I don't really like traveling too much, so if I could just teleport to place, it'd just save a lot of time and just be more efficient for me.
I'm not sure what superpower I would want to have, because I can't say speed. I would say maybe to be invisible.
Invisible?
Yeah. Pop up on people unexpected.
I love that. So do you think that we'll be seeing you guys in the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo?
Oh, that's the goal. That's my #1 goal. You know, right now I'm taking it day by day, step by step. That's kind of the model I've lived through this season. But you know, for future ambitions and goals, you know, I'd really love to run professional and make it to the 2020 Olympics. You know, those are huge aspirations that I've had, especially coming real short in 2016.
So yeah, the same as Mike, I'm taking it day by day. I'm not sure what the future has in store for me, but I will hope to compete in the 2020 Olympics. So.
Well, thank you so much for being with me in studio today. Now let's toss it to Julia to break down some women's lacrosse for us.
Thanks, Chloe. Women's lacrosse is heading up to Colorado for the Pac-12 tournament. I'm with Stu Gill, who has covered the team closely. So Stu, what do the women of Troy need to do to win the Pac-12?
Well, 3 things have to take place right off the bat. They need huge performance from Gussie Johns, their goalie, their senior goalie, and then they need a consistent, clear, defensive clear to get it back onto the offensive end. And then lastly, leadership from attacker Maeve McMahon. Gussie is the best goalie in the country, not only for her ability between the pipes, but for her ability to come out and be aggressive and win ground balls in the defensive zone. She's just absolutely essential to this team. And then when USC lost 3 in a row, they really struggled with clearing the ball and getting it to their attackers. Opposing teams have learned to block off Lydia Sutton. They need other defenders like Natalie Byrne and Jackie Gilbert to lead that effort and fill in that role. And then finally, Maeve McMahon, the graduate transfer from Harvard, brings so much maturity to an offense that's otherwise very young. The offense really starts and ends with her essentially running a read option. She'll dodge from the right wing, either finding her own shot or dumping it off to a teammate with space.
And with that said, what is your prediction for how they'll perform?
Well, they're going to have to go play the #1 and 2 seeds, Colorado and Stanford, in order to do so, but I think that this team's going to win the conference. They've made some adjustments since they suffered 3 losses in a row. Jackie Gilbert's taken over the draw circle and been terrific. And then you have sophomore Izzy McMahon shouldering more of the scoring load lately. I think they'll continue to make these adjustments, play their best lacrosse down the stretch, and then come home with a conference championship.
Well, I love your positivity, but Stu, thanks for coming in to talk lacrosse. Now let's toss it to Chloe with an update on beach volleyball.
The USC women's beach volleyball team is in the Bay Area getting ready for their Pac-12 Championship. Joining me now to preview the tournament is Jazz King. So what are we looking at this weekend?
Well, Chloe, the women of Troy are seeded number 2 going into the tournament. They'll play Arizona State in the first round starting tomorrow morning. Pretty good draw for USC because the number 1 team in the nation and crosstown rival UCLA is on the other side of the bracket.
Although they're ranked number 5, it seems to be a bit of a down year. What do you think is different?
Well, a few things, Chloe. They came into the year back-to-back national champions, but this team a lot younger than we've seen the past few years. They lost 5 seniors. They still finished with a 22-10 record overall. Also lost a couple of close ones in there, so that could have went either way. They've also had a target on their back, obviously coming in as national champs back-to-back, so their opponents have bought it every single game. A pretty good lesson for the girls to learn, though, that you can't take anyone lightly.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they are starting to see that, having won 4 of their last 6 games.
Definitely. I spoke with Coach Anna Collier and asked her what her team has to do to bring home the conference title this weekend.
We haven't been competing as well as we've been practicing. So we've been kind of working on that, like just play the way we practice, you know, let's compete the way we practice. And if we can do that, I think we'll be in the finals and have a good opportunity to perhaps take the number 1 team in the nation down.
So, Jazz, what do you think, which pairs have to be on their A game this weekend?
To be honest with you, Chloe, USC's top pairing, Abril Bustamante and Tino Gradina, have been dominant all season. They've won 21 out of 25 matches and have won 15 in a row coming into the tournament. I talked with Coach Collier, and she has high hopes for them going into the weekend.
Tina can absolutely hit the ball at 100 miles an hour, and Abril has great ball control. So now you have a team that hits hard and has a lot of shots. So people are like, who do we serve? We don't know. Do we want to run the shots down, or do we want to get hit by the ball?
Now, another player the women of Troy are counting on this weekend is senior Alexandra Paletta. She's actually a Canadian as well, transferred here after playing 4 years of indoor at Colorado State. I caught up with her before the team left for the championship.
What has your season been like so far as you played your first time playing on the sand, like you said?
It's been a learning experience. I tried to keep my expectations lower and continually improving them, which is hard for me because I like to compare it to what I could do indoor, but this game is so different, and I really just had to use every single day as a new chance to get better. And compared to at the start of the season, I can say that I have improved enormously, and that's awesome to take away from this season, but I feel like we still have more to give in these next 2 weeks, and we put ourselves at a good spot to really come away with a win in the next 2 weeks.
What does your team have to do to come out successful in the Pac-12 tournament coming up this weekend?
We just got to play our game. That's it. We have all the talent needed to win this Pac-12 and the whole NCAA championship. It's just coming out at the right time and laying it all out there. And I think sometimes we make a little bit too many errors in games and it just doesn't go our way all the time. But if we are sharp this weekend, we'll have no problem.
Should be a great weekend of action. The Trojans kick off their quest for a three-peat tomorrow morning at 9:45 against the Sun Devils.
Now let's toss it to Drew with an update on some of how the women of Troy have already begun their postseason play.
Thanks, Chloe. While most Trojans are prepping for the conference championships, women's golf has already wrapped up and women's tennis is competing right now. Women's golf finished just 8 strokes over par at the Pac-12 Championships yesterday, putting them in second behind UCLA. Sophomore Allison Corpus tied for 7th in the individual rankings, her 5th top 15 finish in a row. The Trojans are now preparing for the NCAA tournament selections that will be announced this evening. If selected, this will be the Trojans' 9th consecutive and 31st overall time competing for a national championship. USC has won the national championship 3 times, in 2003, 2008, and 2013. USC also has the 2nd most individual national champions in the history of the tournament. The Pac-12 Women's Tennis Championships are underway, and number 49 USC is taking on the 11th-seeded Arizona Wildcats. The Wildcats were unranked coming into the Pac-12 tournament and went 0-10 in conference play. Senior captain Gabby Smith is leading the Trojans again in the number 1 single spot. She is ranked number 36 in the nation. Now, if they win, the Trojans will face Arizona State tomorrow and will be looking to upset. Their last matchup against the Sun Devils came down to the wire. They'll need to win the doubles point to get their momentum going and give them that edge early on. That's all for women's golf and tennis. Now let's toss it back over to Chloe, who has the latest on women's rowing.
As a member of USC women's rowing team, it's a huge weekend for us. We have our rivalry duel against UCLA. I caught up with one of my teammates and senior rower Katie Hubert to talk about how the Trojans have fared in the past against UCLA.
Every single year that we have had our duel, USC has come out victorious, which has been really awesome, and I hope we continue that this year as well.
We hope to keep our win streak alive. We've raced against UCLA twice this season already, but since this race at home, it would be huge to get a win, especially for our seniors.
This year it is at home. Every year we switch off, so it's exciting for my senior year to be having it at our home boathouse.
Everyone should head out to the Port of Los Angeles in Long Beach to support the rowing team. The USC men's golf team is competing for the Pac-12 title at the Rolling Hills Country Club. Our reporter Sam Scalabania has been following the team throughout the tournament and is there now. Sam?
Thanks, Chloe. After dominating days 1 and 2, junior Justin Suh is starting to look a little more like human today. Suh is a little out of sorts, currently at 3 over par today. He's still tied for the lead, however, at 13 under par. Tied with George Cunningham of Arizona. Suh has 5 holes left to play. Cunningham just finished up. Not sure what he finished at, but he has a chance to make a run on the last few holes and still capture the individual title. However, USC is showing some good depth. Still in the lead by 5 right now. But the Trojans need to finish strong to capture the championship. It won't be easy. It's very windy out here. Otherwise, the conditions are good. They're just going to have to make a push in the last final few holes to make something happen and grab the cup. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Sam. Like golf, most spring sports are entering Pac-12 tournament play, but the USC baseball team still has plenty of season left. Last night's home game against Long Beach State put the Trojans just over 2/3 of the way through their regular season. After last night's loss, we talked to head coach Dan Hubbs to see where the team goes from here.
The first third, we probably overachieved a little bit and played pretty well. The middle third, it's been kind of 50-50. Early on, we were playing well. This last part of the third, we haven't been, and we just need to get back to doing what we're capable of doing.
The Trojans fell to the Dirtbags 8-5 at Dado. USC held the lead going into the 8th inning, but some uncharacteristic defensive errors allowed the Dirtbags to pull ahead. Now, taking a look at the stats really puts it all in perspective. The team's struggles at the plate are clear. They come in last in the Pac-12 standings for batting, with a .244 batting average. On the other hand, despite a rough performance against Long Beach last night, on defense is where they typically shine. In fact, the Trojans rank number 1 in the Pac-12 for their fielding. They lead the pack with the highest fielding percentage and the least amount of errors by a long shot, with only 21 on the season. Now the Trojans hope to adapt and recover quickly before their Oregon series, which kicks off on Friday. That's all I have for baseball, so our reporter caught up with some USC students who are supporting a brand new team in LA.
Thanks, Lauren. Soccer. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. I recently spoke with students here on campus who are trying to help the new Los Angeles Football Club gain a foothold in the City of Angels. The wait is finally over for Los Angeles Football Club supporters after the team's new stadium opened last week. LAFC has had a growing fan base in the city since their establishment as an MLS franchise in 2014. Their fan base is even spreading to right here at USC. The Wings of Troy is an LAFC offshoot fan club here on campus. The club's president, Noah Schwartz, hopes to promote LAFC at USC.
We do it through a combination of things. First and foremost is social media. Use Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything like that. The second's word of mouth. Also email blasts. We have an email list running of members and then a separate one going out to different clubs and organizations on campus.
In addition to promoting the club, Shorts and the Wings of Troy play pickup soccer every Monday. And many in the club agree the supporter group is heading in the right direction.
People who are in charge now are very intelligent and know how to properly plan this out to make sure the club has success. And I know that soccer, while it might not be the biggest sport in the United States, it's still very highly regarded, and kids coming into the USC, once they hear about this, are going to be just as excited to join as I was.
When asked about this Sunday's home opener, members could not contain their excitement.
I do plan on going. I have a season seat in the 32-52 standing section, and I could not be more excited. I love to chant, to sing, and everything, and I think it's going to be a great time.
From the looks of it, the Wings of Troy is planning to give the team their all. For Annenberg Media, I'm Daniel Huynh. Yeah. Noah told me that since membership is continually growing, he's considering expanding the days they play pickup soccer. Chloe and Julia, back to you.
Thanks, Daniel. It's been a great year on Sports Scene, and we want to thank everyone who has helped us.
We especially want to thank the 20 graduating seniors and grad students who have worked on their show during their time at SC. Without you, the show would not be what it is today. And I want to give a special thank you to our lovely producer and sports director, Jody Sullivan. Thank you for everything you've done for us in the show, and we'll miss your smiling face every day. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more. Now let's take a look at some of our seniors' highlights from this year.
It's time to break down all the latest USC sports news. Let's light the torch. But on the offense, outside of that quarterback position, they're replacing a plethora of veteran players. One such being tailback Ronald Jones II.
Last season, the then 16th ranked USC Trojans thought they were on their way to an easy victory against the Arizona State Sun Devils when backup quarterback Mike Brickavici led the Sun Devils to 3 touchdowns in the final 4 minutes of the game.
These two high-scoring sisters are going to lead USC's high-powered offense when they welcome in Stanford to the Ute-Hengsu Aquatic Center at 5 p.m. on Saturday.
The women's volleyball team has been selected for their 26th consecutive NCAA tournament appearance. Overall, the Trojans recruiting class ranks currently 6th in the nation, according to 24/7 Sports.
Clean the glass and skilled scorer, I've got to go with Metu. Played his ball in high school right down the road. I am now joined by USC women's soccer defender Savannah Levin.
From the court to the pool, the Trojans have been dominating these past few days. Let's check out all the success the weekend had to offer. It's time to light the torch.
Coming as a grad transfer from Utah really upped his draft stock. He was the defensive MVP at the Rose Bowl, which is really nothing to snuff at.
Now that you know how the Trojans fared in the drills, let's find out what people on social media had to say about the Combine. Sam's had a lot of pressure going into the season with all the feature articles from ESPN, Sports Illustrated, The Ringer, you name it. He's been the most talked about player in college football.
Part baseball, part turtle. Going for either. This was a spider. Because her goalie skills are spider-like. Josh, stop laughing at me. The 3-time defending national champion USC Beach volleyball team is on a 4-game win streak, and the team has found momentum as they head into yet another tough weekend.
You guys had the 17th best recruiting class in the nation this year. What can we expect from those new guys, and how are they looking?
Yeah, I hate to be the negative Nancy again, but unfortunately, I don't think they're going to qualify for the NCAA tournament.
So you started your career as a quarterback and transitioned to a wide receiver. So how did that experience benefit you in the NFL, being versatile, and how could these guys use that to their advantage?
Staying in the water, 4 USC women divers qualified for the NCAA Zone E Championships.
Los Angeles bragging rights were on the line last Saturday at Pauley Pavilion, and it was a game USC really should have won.
We're here on UCLA's campus here in Westwood, where they actually started Rivalry Week a week ago.
I actually did get you a Valentine. Aww. For you. So sweet. And also up here, it says, actually, it's you matter, baby.
When you hear MVP, you think of an athlete who's immensely better than any of the rest of her teammates.
The Trojans have had a lengthy list of injuries to face this season.
How well do you know your brother? I'm joined with Lockie and Blake Edwards of the men's water polo team. You guys ready?
Welcome to the luxurious Annenberg Media Center. I'm Savannah Boone.
Probably for the last time, it's crazy to say, for Sports Scene, I'm Jody Storm Sullivan.
You're pulling at the heartstrings, Jody, and I'm Jeff Dubroff. Tune in next week for all things USC. We'll see you next time.
And our last thank you goes out to our faculty supervisors, Stacy Shoulder, and our supervisors, Tom Norris and John Goldsmith. We appreciate your constant help and support in getting the show on air every week.
For the last time this season, thank you all for tuning into Sports Scene. Please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Annenberg Media Sports. I'm Chloe Chrysikopoulos.
And I'm Julia Adams. We'll see you in the fall.